Outside there. Hello, hello. Hi, Haseen. You're planning to go to UK for your MS? Okay, all right, all right. Let's wait for a few people. We are here in beautiful New York City. I just took the ferry from the other side, from New Jersey, and I'm here in the city. And I am so excited to talk to you guys. All right, we'll wait for a few minutes. We'll have people join in, and then we'll get started. Meanwhile, you can let me see if I can flip my camera. Yes, I can. We are here in New York. All right, guys. Hey, Videsh from Weber. Videsh with Weber. Nice to meet you again. Yeah, excited to see NYC. Yeah, NYC is one of my favorite cities, guys. It's beautiful. We're here. I'm at the ferry terminal. I just took the ferry from New Jersey, and now I'm here. Look at these amazing walking paths. This is like a bicycle path. Uh, Just crossing the street. The famous yellow cab from New York is here. All right. Got a bunch of people here. Let me switch my camera back to me. So we'll keep flipping through front and back camera, and I'll talk to you guys. So for people who are joining, this is Ashish Fernando, your global survival guide, and today we're going to be talking about life in New York City as a student. And you're going to learn about what it takes to live and study in New York City. What's the rent? How much do you pay for your study? Oops. Are you all able to hear me clearly and also see the video? Please let me know in the chat because sometimes in New York the connection goes crazy. So I'm hoping that I can talk to you for as much as I can. Hopefully for another 30 minutes. And there's a lot of noise in the background. I mean, there's cars everywhere. Uh, but let me know, please let me know in the chat if things are good. Weber, I don't know if you can hear me okay. Hello. Alright. So, okay, hopefully the light goes green for us. All right, guys, just so you know, there's about 1.3 million students who study in New York City. And it's one of the most popular places to study, and it's also one of the best places to enjoy life as a student. To be honest, all right, we've got the white signal. That's a very American thing. You have a white man, woman, whatever signal, and all right. So coming back. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the cost of studying in New York. So, as a student, first of all, you have to spend on your tuition, you have to spend on your travel, and all of those things when you come to New York. But the biggest thing that where New York drains all of your money is basically rent. And how much do you, as an average student, how much do you? Okay, video. Haseen, you're saying the video is not. That's interesting. Let me check my connection. My connection looks okay. Uh, all right. Well, we'll see. We'll try and see if it gets better. Okay. So, just guys, I mean, in terms of rent, it depends on where you live. So, a lot of students who study here in New York City, they live on campus as well. Like, even I know a lot of Indian students who live on campus. On campus, you're paying about 10,000 US dollars per semester uh, comes to about $3,000 a month. That's a lot of money, and it gets pretty expensive very quickly. And so that's why a lot of people, a lot of students who are in New York City, they like to actually find other ways of living here that I'll talk about in a second. Okay, Vaibhav and Haseen, I think you all are the only people live. Figure out. I don't need this thing. Mm. All right, guys. So, okay, we're walking alongside the Hudson River. This is the river that flows across and between New Jersey and New York. It just separates the two states. So I was talking about rent. The best way to save on rent when you're studying in New York City is to actually live on the other side of New York, in New Jersey. And there the rents go. So suddenly, instead of paying $3,000 a month, you will now go down to about maybe $1,500 a month. That's all you end up spending if you live on the New Jersey side, and life is good after that. But it's still pretty expensive to study in New York. So you have to plan your finances really well when you come here to study. The other thing about New York, I feel, is that it's constantly bustling with energy, it's constantly bustling with things to do. So, as a student, when you're in New York, you will be you will be stretched between doing things that are fun and doing things that actually get you a job, and towards your working towards your employment, meeting companies. So there's so much that you have to think and plan when you're in New York City, and that actually makes it kind of exciting. I mean, when I was in Boston, things were similar for me. Boston's a big city as well, and there were a lot of things to do. But New York is a whole different story. I'm walking down the streets right now. My goal was to show you what's out here, what you can, what you can see, how it feels like just to be in the city. So in a second, I'm gonna turn my camera around, and you're gonna see the wonderful skyline. There you go. That's the wonderful New York skyline. Uh, let's see, and it's full of traffic, so I want to cross the road. You see the far away in the distance, the pointed building. That's the Empire State Building right about there. That's the Empire State. There's a lot of cars, a lot of traffic, a lot of people jogging on the road early in the morning. It's pretty fantastic, honestly. There's a helicopter just taking off from a helipad here. There's like all sorts of commotion happening all the time. And look at the architecture there. You see those little buildings in the middle? That's some fancy architecture. Wow. This is the cool thing about New York. Hello. All right. Hey, Anish. Hello, Dyson. Nice to see you guys. All right, guys. So, okay, we're back walking. We have to be very careful because cars also get to go. They have the right of way, while humans also have the right of way to walk. This is a very American thing. All right. So we are back. Let me switch my camera. All right. So what more can we talk about New York City? Honestly, when you think of it, there's about 1.2 million international students and domestic students together who are studying in New York City at any point. I mean, that's a lot of students for one city, but it has the capacity to to take that many students. That's the amazing part about it. Uh, and so you can find a lot of ways to mingle with students. There's a lot of schools like within the city, there's a lot of schools outside. So, like for instance, if you're studying at NYU, which is, of course, one of the most popular schools in New York, NYU is actually the campus is distributed within New York City. And it doesn't really have a campus, to be honest. It has multiple buildings that are spread across the city. There's no like boundary for NYU. It's just a bunch of buildings, and it adds to the essence of studying in New York. It's like you're walking down a regular. Oh, I thought the bus lady was shouting at me. She was shouting at somebody else for something. Um, So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so when you're studying in New York, you have to be used to a different campus style. Typically, the way it works is that you just walk down the street and you go to your one department. Let's say you're doing computer science. It'll be a random building, and then you walk from there. Your IT department is another random building. So the culture of studying in New York is very different. Same applies to other schools also that are within the city, like CUNY. There's CUNY Baruch, a really good business school, also in the city. All right, time to turn the cameras around, give you all a view. We are actually in one of the most popular sides of the city. This is close to Times Square. I'm sure you all know the famous Times Square. It's coming up a little ahead. We may see it. We'll see. Uh, but we will definitely look at Penn Station. It will be on the way. Times Square is super popular, guys. I was actually there last night. You see this car? Boom. Just crosses us, even though it's our right away. Uh, so I was there last night. It was super crowded, but I've been there so many times that I kind of am used to it now. Used to all the craziness. I know where I'm going. Kind of understand the different things in New York. So life becomes easy that way. Uh, okay, so ask me your questions. Ask me your questions about New York. What do you all want to know? I'm happy to answer anything. Not just about New York, actually, just any city. This is more. This session is more to answer your questions around living, rent, accommodation, lifestyle in big cities like New York. So it doesn't have to be here. Like maybe you're going to London. I've been to London quite a few times. Also, very different, interesting city, very different from New York. Look at that building. You see that? It's like a mesh. You can actually walk on it. You can go all the way to the top of that building, get some nice views of New York. All right. New York's are used. I mean, the good thing about a city like New York is you still have a lot of green in the middle. They've done a good job. The city's done a good job of like making small parks, recreational areas where you can just chill, de-stress, and then go about your work. Map, please. Okay, so let's see. We are. I have to take care when I'm crossing the road. I don't trust the drivers in New York. They sometimes just don't care, and I don't want to be on a YouTube live session and get run down by a car. Wow, look at that building. Look at the sun shining on it. It's fantastic. I mean, you have high-rise buildings and you have these kind of architectures. This is the good thing about studying here. Being a student, you really get to explore the city. You get to enjoy all the little things it has to offer. The food, I mean, it's debatable, especially if you're coming from India. Food in New York is pretty debatable. You'll be wondering, what do you mean, burgers and fries? But I really like it. I like the food here. It's pretty American, not as spicy as what we are used to in India. I mean, I'm used to eating chapatis and all that wheat stuff in the morning, rice in the evening, in the afternoon. You don't get any of that here. I mean, here now, my diet is usually, so we'll talk about diet now. When you're living here, uh, Indian food is pretty accessible in New York. There are a lot of Indian supermarkets where you can go and get Indian food, Indian groceries, but typically the quality is not the same. Obviously, I mean, you even get like things like, bitter gourd, Karela, for instance, like a very popular Indian vegetable. Americans don't even know about it. But you get it here, you get it at Indian stores. It's just that it's not gonna have the same level of freshness because it's frozen and transported from India. So you can get the food, but being a student here, honestly, I would switch to what's available locally, which is basically salads, a lot of Italian food, American bread. That's what I'm pretty much used to. Look at that. Wow. I don't know if you guys can see that that artwork. It's like a red tree. Not red, it's like fluorescent red. And it's called the High Line. That's where the the trains used to go before the subway went underground. The subway used to actually go high up. You see there. You Maybe around 10 years back, trains would go on it. Now they've converted it to something called the High Line, which basically you walk on it and it's a park, and it's got a lot of art and architecture on it while you're walking. It's beautiful. I mean, if you live and work on either side of the Highline Park, it makes your day just beautiful in the morning. Like I've taken some walks there, and there's even like a building, for instance, right on the Highline. There's a building that was designed by Anthony Gaudi. I don't know if you guys know who Gaudi is. Gaudi is a famous architect from Spain, like Barcelona. He's built some really historical buildings like the Sagrada Familia and a lot of these other buildings in Spain. And there's only like one or two, I think, that he has designed in America, all of America, and one is over there. So this is the good thing about New York. When you walk through the streets, you get to see all these amazing things. So let's talk about transportation, guys. When you're a student in New York, of course, you cannot afford to take an Uber every time. Ubers are expensive. I just took a ride yesterday. It lasted about 15 minutes and it costed me about $30, right? So it's not that affordable, to be honest. Uh, the best way to commute in New York, and having your own car is also actually a really bad idea because parking costs money. I mean, an average parking in New York City costs somewhere around $40 an hour. No, sorry, $40 a day, my bad. But still, it'll cost you about $10, $12 an hour. So parking is very, very expensive, obviously, because it's New York City. Space is limited. So, um, the best way to commute is actually the subway. New York has a really strong subway system, and you can take a subway from any part of New York to any other part. And that's what I do. Costs you about $2 to $3 per ticket, and you can go anywhere. Here, see my face a little bit. It is hot. It is hot. It's about 40 degrees, I think, close to 90, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm sweating, and I'm wearing a jacket. So it's yeah. But when I travel, I mean, I'm going to WeWork to meet a partner of ours to do some work. But I would usually take the subway because it's nice, cheap, easy to travel. But because I'm doing the YouTube live, I thought, why not just walk? So I'm taking a 30-minute walk, which is typically something I love doing, but 30-minute walk in this heat It's kind of taking its toll on me. Look at that. There's some fancy bridges, some fancy buildings there. All right, we're actually going through the bridge, I think. Yeah, there's people taking pictures. Obviously, it's New York. There's a lot of tourists. Always a lot going on here. Every street is full of stuff. But yeah, guys, if you save on transport and if you save on accommodation in New York, I think it is worth the experience. It costs a little more money than many cities around the world. New York is one of the most expensive to live, but at the same time, it is so rewarding to live in New York City. I mean, yeah, we are actually. Oh, you know what? Wow, we actually came to the High Line. I'm going to turn my camera and show this to you. Here you go. We are actually at the High Line. Look at that. All these structures, and there's so much of green around here. It's fantastic. It's pretty fantastic, right? There we go. I think we're running short of time. What's the time? Let's see. 9:52. Okay. I have a meeting starting in about 10 minutes and I'm just heading to that meeting. But everybody in New York is heading to meetings in the morning. That's just life here. A lot of people working in finance, banking. New York City is really known for that. For the big banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they all have offices here. So talking about study options, business programs, finance, accounting are fantastic programs to take in New York City. And we actually have a friend of ours here, Maria, who's walking in front of me. Hi, Maria. Maria is actually she's a finance major, and she studied risk, market risk, right? What else did you study? Finance and economics. Yes, you can probably not hear Maria, but she's in finance and economics, and yeah, like New York would probably be the best for her. But she also likes to enjoy the outdoors. So for that reason, she's not living in New York. But if you're studying finance or you're interested in that, you have a BCom degree and you're interested in enhancing your lifestyle, your education by doing something in finance, in accounting, in commerce, business. New York City is the perfect place. Uh, it costs money, but guys, remember, a lot of times we students think, oh, if I have to pay a lot of money, then why should I do it? I'd rather go for something that's cheaper. But you should always look at it from an ROI standpoint. For every dollar I spend, how many more dollars can I make? And you will immediately find out that in New York, you make almost double of what you would make in any other major city in the world, right? We're walking through some scaffoldings. There's some construction going on here. Um, but they really take care of public safety because they don't want to get sued. In America, you can get sued at any time for any reason, so they're very careful. It doesn't happen like that in India, right? You'll probably have one guy, if you're lucky, you'll have a guy standing there saying, "Chalo, chalo, chalo." There's work going on. Uh, but yeah, all right. So we are now near Penn Station. How far are we? Why are you taking so much time? Let's go. We are near Penn Station and we are late for the meeting. Um, Interesting thing about New York Penn Station. It's a railway station. It's underground, It is served by 7 tunnels, guys. There are trains coming into the middle of the city, and these are like big express trains carrying a lot of people. Come to the middle of the city through tunnels, and it serves about 600,000 passengers every day. Just imagine that. 600, that's like in Indian numbers, like 6 lakh passengers every day in the middle of such a bustling city. Okay, all right. So just crossing the road here. Okay. So if you are, I was telling you that you could live in New Jersey while you're studying in New York. Um, you would be traveling by train in most cases. If you're living just on the other side of the river, you'll be traveling by boat. And there's a water taxi. It's really pretty. That's what I used this morning because I was staying in New York City. But if you use the train, you'll get out at New York Penn Station, and from there, you can access any part of New York, guys, any part of New York, and you can do it using trains. You can do it walking. Uh, that's how New York operates. So it's been a pretty fruitful time that I've spent in New York. I really miss city life. Coming from India, I always miss living in a place that has a lot of people. I live in Salt Lake, and it's pretty deserted most of the time. But here in New York, it's pretty vibrant. There's a really strong Indian community. So maybe at some point I'll spend some time living here. Uh, so that's about New York. I think we are at time. Uh, it was great talking to you all about life in New York City as a student. We will do more sessions like this. I'll be meeting people, students like yourselves. I want to be interviewing them on my sessions. I'm going to be meeting with institutions. I'm going to be interviewing them as well and giving you all some more information. But, guys, my goal at Global Survival Guide is to ensure that you have the best idea and the most information about studying abroad. My goal is to make sure that you make the right choices for your study and that you have the most success in your life. So, with that, good luck to all of you. Please send in your comments, send in your feedback, and any topic that you would want me to discuss on these live sessions. I'm happy to do so. This is your host and friend Ashish Fernando from Global Survival Guide. I'll see you guys on the next live session. Till then, take care. Good luck.